All right, we're live. Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming back to the Entrepreneur Hour. Today, my special guest is Sienna,
Cenia.
Cenia,
Cenia.
Cenia. So, if you watch the show, you know I always talk about how I met the person. I met Cenia at a networking birthday party, which was super interesting and cool. Smart idea. Caesar, which I'll have him on the show one day too. And when I was there, he basically was, connecting people, and he was like, "You really should talk to Senya. She has a fashion technology." And I was like, "Okay." So when we met, you told me about your technology, which we'll talk about later. But I want you to tell the audience your origin story. Like, how'd you get in to entrepreneurship before you became an entrepreneur? What were you doing, and then what made you become an entrepreneur?
Sure. So I grew up in the Dominican Republic. I'm from a small village there, and my mom was a seamstress of my hometown. So I grew up watching her sew and fit women of all different sizes and body types. And I always was there with her, questioning her, trying to do my own things. And then I developed a passion for imagining dresses for her clients and sketching them up. I didn't even know there was a career of being a fashion designer. This came naturally to me. So I would sketch and sketch and sketch. I would rip off the pages from my notebooks and just sketch. I loved it. It was like I was so passionate about it. And I remember one day my aunt came from the capital and she saw my sketches and she told me, "Oh, Sandy, you're gonna be a fashion designer when you grow up." And I was like, "Oh, what's a fashion designer?" And then she told me, that fashion designers have runways and they sell to the stores and they dress famous people. And I was like, "Oh, that's what I'm gonna be when I grow up."
That's
And
awesome.
so, I had this big dream, but meanwhile, I was in the middle of nowhere in the Dominican Republic, so I didn't know how I was gonna get there.
So
So.
how'd you start making your path towards what you're doing now? Then how'd you what was the way you did it?
Well, luckily, we were able to come as a family to the United States. I
Okay.
came in 1990 with my siblings, and as soon as I got here, I went and tried to make my dream come true. I enrolled in a community college, and then eventually I went to FIT, Fashion
Oh,
Institute of
nice,
Technology
nice.
in New York, and I graduated from there with a major in fashion design. And so when I graduated, I started to work in the New York garment district for other big brands and companies, such as Phyllis Van Heusen, Izod, Calvin Klein jeans, True
Nice,
Religion outerwear. And
nice.
so I started to network and meet people in the industry, meet factories, and that's how I got into the industry.
So, and then at what point did you start to say, okay, I want to create my own? So I got enough experience working with these big brands and people. What point did you say, okay, I want to start doing my own thing?
So that was my ultimate dream and goal, always to have my own line. And after 8 years of working in the industry in New York, I said to myself, well, I think there's a void in the market for designers who truly understand how to fit a curvy woman. What flatters us. Me being curvy myself, I always had a very hard time finding clothing that would fit me right, that would flatter me, especially jeans. I always had to get my jeans tailored. I had to make them too little down at the back of the waist because they were always too big at the waist and too tight at the hips or vice versa. So I said to myself, I could fill this void. I know this market is myself. I'm the customer, and I know it from my community, and I want to start my own brand. I want to bring that to the table. And so I started little by little while I was still working for another company full time. I sampled up the line, and then I went to knock on doors to find a showroom who would rep me and get me into the stores. It was very hard because at the time it was when the financial uh, crisis happened in 2008.
Oh,
So it was
yeah.
very hard to. Everybody was like, "Why are you starting in line now?"
Yeah.
But I
No
was
better
just
time
so
than right now.
passionate about it.
But that's pretty interesting because so many the reason why I'm even creating this show is because so many entrepreneurs start in recessions, and we are in one right now. And you heard her story. She started in the last recession. So if you're watching this and you're like, should I start my thing? Yes, you should right now, because look, wait till you get to we'll get to the further end of her story, and you're gonna see what she did between this recession and the last one. So you saw a need for women of color, pretty much, right? That have a different shape than the jeans were being created for. So you said, I have a way of fixing this. What did you end up doing?
So I created my line, and luckily I did find a rep to help me get into the stores through a designer that I had interned for, and I reached out to him. I asked him to refer me to someone, and he did, and they took me, and because it was the recession, I only sold like few pieces, like 8 pieces, but I did produce them. I delivered them, and then they started to sell. And little by little, by the time I knew, I was already in 25 boutiques, then 50. And then I had to quit my full time job and go full time
Nice.
into my own business.
How long did that process take before you were starting till you had to quit? Because I know a lot of times people give up a little too early, right?
Hmm.
How long was that process for you?
That took 2 years.
That's pretty
It took.
fast. That's pretty
It
fast.
was fast, but it felt forever for me because I was working like 24/7, literally. I would,
Yeah, because you had your
you know,
job, and then you're
it,
working your
I
own.
would come home, work weekends. It was crazy. So in 2010, after I had been selling to boutiques for 2 years, a friend of mine brought me a newspaper and showed me that Macy's had created an opportunity program for entrepreneurs. They wanted products that would appeal to the huge minority uh,
Buddy.
customer
Yeah.
base that they had. And then I said, well, this is my chance to go into department stores now, the next level. But it was a big shot. The requirements were incredible. But I still, I applied, I sent my application the last day, the last hour. And guess what? Out of 900 companies who applied, I was one of 22 that were
Wow.
chosen to do the workshop. And out of the 22, I was one of 4 who got the order and got in.
Nice. You see that's a super inspiring story, because yeah, I mean, so a lot of times you think you're too small to get into these big,
Right.
but you went for it and you made it, and that's super inspiring. And are in Macy's, how did the Macy's deal work? Because that's your first big deal, right?
Hmm.
So how did that work out? How'd that work?
It was really tough. They put me into 12 stores around the country in Puerto Rico. And I went from shipping boutiques 2 seasons a year to a monthly delivery that Macy's requires. I was producing in New York City before for the boutiques. And all of a sudden, in order to be competitive price wise at Macy's, I had to go and manufacture overseas in China.
Ah,
So it was brutal. And then I had to subcontract a lot of things because I couldn't do everything by myself anymore.
yep.
The logistics was crazy, but I did it. I delivered, and I was in Macy's until 2014. Then it became a little complicated because after 2 years, they were like, "Well, now you have to become a regular vendor." Before I was,
Ah,
under the Minority Opportunity Program, and so that meant a lot of other financial
yeah.
requirements that I wasn't able to
That makes
do at
sense.
the moment.
So I think I know what that means, but like, just in case people are watching that may be interested, I think that means, because I know how these department stores work.
Hmm.
You have to pay to be inside their
Sort of.
their walls, right? So, and
Yes.
then you pay for your position in the store and all that.
Exactly.
So yeah, it can become super expensive as a fashion brand
Yeah,
to be
and I
in
was a small brand, competing with the big boys like Vince Camuto, Ralph Lauren. It was just not sustainable for
the.
me to continue at the moment. So I decided to go back and concentrate on the boutique business again, and I
I think
regret.
if anything, those business models are old. Like if you look
Sorry.
at right now, online is king, right? So like
Right.
if you think about those models of charging people for locations, I don't think that's gonna last anyway. I just, as a technology person, I just see, and I'm working with brands. I work with brands. So right now, especially right now, they're seeing their online sales just explode, and they're
Mhm.
they're rethinking retail, right? Because it's like,
Right.
what's gonna happen post COVID, right?
Right.
So how? All right. So I want to get to your good news, your exciting news. So tell us what just happened to you and your brand.
Well, so my gene that I created has been extremely successful. It's been selling like crazy at the boutiques. It's been selling like crazy online. Women just love it. It is a patent pending gene that has an adjustable waist, so that it actually molds to your own body type, and it solves the gap problem for women who are smaller waist, bigger bottom, like myself. So I had this very successful product, and I saw that QVC HSN launched an open call, nationwide open call for inventors and designers. And so I said, okay, here we go. I'm going to
Yeah,
apply.
do it again.
And guess what? I was chosen to go and pitch in front of a judging panel. And at the at the pitch, I was given an instant pass, gold pass, to present my line to the buyer. And when the buyer came and saw the line and the idea, she loved it. And then I got the order. And I'm actually launching with HSN. The product is live now online, but I'm doing my live presentation July 2nd.
Wow, wow. So that's amazing. I remember that was what you told me when we met. I think
Right.
you were either about to find out or you had found out, right? When
No,
we met,
I had gotten the order, and the order was in production. It was
okay.
supposed to launch in April, but because of COVID, we had
Ah,
to
that's what
postpone
it
it.
is. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So and then you told me, because we started talking about what we do, and you said, okay, so now what happens is you may need investment because the order
Right.
numbers can get bigger and bigger. Is that still the
Exactly.
case? Where are you
Yeah.
as a business? Are you still looking for investors? Are you still looking for what kind of help right now as your company's starting to grow, you feel like you need?
Yes, I'm looking for more of like a strategic partner to help me to, you know, get to the next level. I mean, I'm going there, but I need more of a financial person because I'm a designer, I'm a creative, and that's my strength. And I want to concentrate on that, even though I'm, pretty business savvy, and I've been running my business for more than 10 years now. But I would like to have a strategic partner with me to help me grow distribution globally and
Okay.
to help me finance that.
Because right now, because I guess, and I know this from dealing with some fashion brands that are early. What happens is once these big orders start to like getting on HSN could mean Home Shopping Network. It could mean thousands and thousands of orders,
Hmm.
right? So you got to have the product. You can't be
Right.
making it as they're ordering. So they kind of expect you to have a certain amount of product ready, and that costs money, right? So you
Right.
gotta invest in that amount of product to have it available. So, and I saw on and anybody watching, the link to the Home Shopping Network is on the description. Is that why you only kept to three products? Because that'll help you to like not, because I know on your website there was more, right? On your website there's more
Mhm.
products than on Home Shopping Network.
Well, they bought my three bestsellers,
Okay,
best-selling styles, and they bought it each one in multiple colors. So altogether, there's more SKUs. There's about 8 SKUs,
okay,
but it's one style in multiple colors. But those are my best-selling styles.
okay. And how does it work? I've always been interested to understand, how does it work once they pick you up? Do they expect you not to sell it on your own website anymore, or how does it work? Because there's retail brands that don't like that, and there's retail brands that are okay with it. How does that work with HSN? Are they still okay with you selling on your website?
Yeah, so far, we just starting our relationship, and it is okay. They don't expect me to be exclusive, but we'll see how it goes depending on the
Yeah.
on how successful it is, which I think is going to be.
Yes, I think when we met, I was talking to you about the opportunity of going one to one, especially now because of social media. There's a huge opportunity to target your customer,
Hmm.
and like from what I remember, not many people are targeting this demographic with these type of genes, right? So to me, like you said, if you're looking for somebody strategic, I would be looking for someone that is social media strategy that can like bring you traffic and teach you how to like create content. And I see on your Instagram you do a good job already of like you have
Thank
some
you.
influencers and stuff that wear your clothes. So stuff like that I believe is a good move. Because the more data you own on the customer that you're
Hmm.
providing this service to, the better you are forever, right? Because right
Right.
now, HSN, that's great, but like Macy's, they could change the relationship anytime, and
Right.
then what happens? But the more one-on-one you have with the customer, the better, I think. So talk to me about filing a patent in the fashion world. Like when you told me that, I was like, oh wow, that's interesting. I just never even thought about it. I always thought about it for technology, but and of course it just makes sense. Everything is patentable. What made you patent this idea? Why do that?
Well, I wanted to have an edge on the competition, and my idea is original. We did the research to make sure that there wasn't anything like it
Anything
out
else like
there
it? Yep.
before.
So,
And
so wait. I want to stop you there and explain what you mean by you did the research. And I want to know if it's the same research that I was told. One time I have this story. I was working on a future technology for a brand, and we got into a contract issue where they wanted me to take all responsibility for the technology that we were building. And I was like, but it's your idea. So I spoke to a lawyer, and the lawyer said you need to do a right to do business type search, and it was $50,000. And I was like, what happens if you tell me that I can't do it? Do I get my 50,000 back? They were like, no, you don't. So I was like, all right, so I'm not doing it. But is that how it worked for you? You had to pay.
yeah, actually, it is quite expensive. So I did it through a company, it's a famous company that's out there that do patents for
Okay,
inventors. So I did it through them, and so they do the research, and it's not 50 grand, but it's a significant amount. It was
okay,
a significant amount. So they do the research and tell you whether or not you have a shot at getting the patent.
okay. And then
And
so that company that you did it through, do they also write you the patent once you go through them?
yes, they do that. They get to they put you in contact with their patent lawyer, and then they write all of the the drawings, the specifications that are very they have to be in a certain way. It's not like you could do your own drawing and send it to
Sure.
the
Yeah, it has to be. It has to be.
USPTO. It has to be
Yeah.
professionally done by a lawyer who knows what they're doing,
So
and
do
it
you
has to
mind
be.
saying the company of the patent? Because I get that question all the time. Should I patent my idea? A lot of times I tell people I wouldn't do it unless it's 100% necessary because it's a lot of cost. With something like what you're doing, it makes more sense because it's physical, it's going to be in stores. With technology, it's really hard to like battle a patent because
Mhm.
look at what Snapchat did. I mean, what Instagram did with Snapchat. They basically took their tech and nobody got anything because Instagram still has it, right? So
Right.
with tech, I tend to say patenting is not really worth it. But like, what organization did you use? Just I could put it in there. Anybody who has that idea.
Well, this is going to be free advertisement for them, but I did it
Sure,
with
sure.
with InventHelp.com.
Inventhelp.com.
Yeah.
All right. I'll put that in the description. So all right. So and then once you got the patent, what opportunity did that help with a lot of your opportunities just by having that patent?
Well, I didn't get the patent yet. We're still back and
Oh,
forth
okay,
with
yeah,
the
patent pending, patent
USPTO.
pending.
They're patent pending.
How
But
long? How
even
long have you
even
been?
being patent pending gives you a lot of
Yep, yep. I heard that.
it gives you an edge. Like for instance, the HSN, the fact that I was patent pending, that helps for me to be picked.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of
Right.
sense. I've been in, but that's the thing, right? I say that on one side that I wouldn't do it. Then on another side, I've been in situations where technology investors want to see patents too. So it's like it's a tough situation of where
Yeah.
to spend the money, right? Because if you get an investment and you got to spend it on patent, you don't really get to use it to grow the idea. So
Well, yeah, I think it's, uh, being the first on the market is also gives you an edge.
edge, yep.
You're ahead of your competitors. You were the first, and you're going to be number one. So you have to evaluate whether it is worth investment for you specifically, or what. For me, because in the fashion industry, everybody copies everybody and whatnot.
Yep,
It's very difficult.
yep.
So if you have, if once I get the patent, it's like it's a big deal. You
Okay.
could
And
make.
how long have you been waiting? How long? Because I know another thing, patent pending. I've seen people with patent pending for a while. How
Mhm.
long do they tell you how long you can expect?
They don't tell. It's usually 2 to 3 years. I've been 2 years
Okay. Okay.
with
Yeah. So
patent
that sounds
pending.
like about. I've heard the same, like few years,
Yeah.
2 years.
And
Um.
then the patent pending also, I feel it prevents a little bit from people rushing to copy your idea.
True. True. That's true.
Mhm.
Um. Yeah. And then. To be honest, like you said, it's gonna afford you a lead that may just help you get out
Right.
in front
Get
and
out
stay
in the
in front.
front.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because people before they copy you, they want to know that you're successful. So you are the one who takes that
Yep.
burden per
Yep.
se.
Yep.
You know?
And it's a true burden. They say pioneers
Yeah,
get slaughtered, right? That's the thing,
exactly.
right? Like at the end of the day, as an entrepreneur, as a pioneer, you got to be ready for those arrows, right? So
Exactly.
so okay, so now that you're on home shopping network, what is your next plan? What's your next goal to see if anybody watching can help or anything like that?
Well, I want to become a huge global lifestyle brand. I want to branch out to many other products under the Cenia brand.
Okay.
And so I want to license the brand to handbags, accessories,
Ah,
shoes, more. I want to bring more types of apparel to HSN, like dresses, which I'm a dress designer originally, blouses. And so that's my ultimate goal.
so do you plan on working with outside people and then licensing, or are you thinking about creating some of those things internally first?
Well, I think it's very hard for a designer to try to cover so much. I want to companies who have more expertise, let's say in menswear, to handle that. In
Mhm.
handbags, do a
That makes
licensing
sense.
deal with a company who that's their expertise. And I want to concentrate on what my expertise is.
And that's pretty common, right? Like I even seen companies like Chanel and Louis Vuitton, they all do that too, right?
Yeah,
Like,
and that's actually where designers ultimately can make money,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
by
yeah.
making licensing deals.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense. So, what do you need to make that happen? What does that mean? Like fashion people with designs would come to you and then they say, "All right, I want to license it." How would that work? If you don't mind explaining, just in case somebody is watching that may have something.
Well, that's where a strategic partner would come in. That would be a person that, for me, it'll be negotiating licensing deals for the brand,
Hmm.
and trying to secure licensing deals.
Okay. Okay. So, all right, and then so other than a strategic partner and brands or licensing partners, you spoke about investment, right? What are you looking for? Because, like I said, I told you this before. I have investors that I work with. I send them these videos. I want to start asking you some of the questions that they may ask. So you are patent pending, which is awesome. You're looking for funds to fulfill orders already that you're getting with the HSNs of the world. And what about for your own personal brand? Are you looking for funds to help grow that too? Like what would you do if an investor just gave you $1 million? What would you do?
Well, I think I would invest in marketing, getting the name out there, uh, getting it established. Um, funding orders, because as the orders grow, that means more money to put out. We have to pay the factory in advance
Yeah.
before the
Yeah.
product comes, into the stores, and then we had to wait about 50 days to get paid. So there's a period of time where cash flow is a little challenging,
Sure.
and investing in growing the brand, growing the company, getting the name of the brand out there.
Sure. Sure. That makes total sense. What I learned is in venture capital, 40% of all money raised is spent on marketing and advertising. So like if you think about it, that's a lot, right? So but now part of what I've been advising people that want to do the same thing is you have to figure out how to do what you're kind of already doing it though, is how to get your name out there through untraditional means, right? Without having to pay Facebook, Instagram,
Right.
YouTube, whatever, through these partnerships, through these affiliate kind of situations. That could be a situation with you where maybe you go to influencers and you create something that's just a partnership between you and them, and then it helps bring their audience to you. And instead of having a bag line, you are partnering with someone that has an audience, and you create a gene line for them. That is partnership with you, and then that audience becomes your audience, and you gather that data, and you can continue to work and sell to them. That's what I would do. Again, I'm not in the fashion brand world, but I do understand technology, and I see brands just coming out of nowhere and dealing directly with the customer and exploding. If you think about like Fashion Nova, right? That's what Fashion Nova did, right? They weren't spending on advertising. They were just getting the influencers to
To be their
yeah,
their
to be their
voice.
marketing. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
to their market.
And now they're worth billions. I forgot the last time I saw it. They're worth like a lot of money. And I know for a fact they weren't paying these influencers.
Right.
There was
Because the
something that,
influencer, they wanted the exposure. So it
yeah,
was a mutual beneficial relationship.
at some level, once you got to a certain level, they would pay them, but most people never got to that level, right? So
Right.
most of it
Right.
was like, it helped the influencer look like they were becoming bigger because they had a deal.
Right.
But all it really was they were sending them free clothes. And
Exactly.
yeah, so I think there's a way to do that the right way, and I don't think Fashion Nova has done it where there's literally a benefit on both sides. So if someone sells you $1 million worth of clothes because their audience is just that large, they should see a good amount for that. It's basically sales,
Mhm.
right? They're doing your sales.
The percentage on sale.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I definitely had tried to do some of that with some influencers a few years ago. Didn't really work out, but maybe there's an opportunity with you. I can connect you with a few
Okay. I'm all for
influencers
it.
that I was working with back then that may work. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, one was in Africa, one was in New York. But I don't know now. I don't know where they are now. I haven't kept up with everybody. But I think that's a huge opportunity. And I know for a fact they were using Fashion Nova though. They were already with the Fashion Nova thing. So as a fashion brand, do you worry about when companies try to copy you? Like what are you gonna do? Do you have a plan when they start to copy you? Because I just watched something about how fast like companies like Fashion Nova, they copy. That's how they get so big. They just copy
Right.
everything. Anything that's popular, they copy it, and then they have distribution. So what do you worry about? Do you worry about that, or do you have a plan for that if that happens?
Well, like I said, I wanted to be the first one on the market and build that credibility with the customer, that they know that my gene is the original, and that I know this customer, I know this body because I am the customer
Yes,
myself.
yes.
And so, and also, the patent, they will not be able to copy me because they will be sued.
True, true, true. No, no, that's right. That's right. And what I really like about the brand is we're in this moment of social injustice, right? And mostly for Black Lives Matter. But I think what it's going to start doing is going to start opening up more eyes to opportunities like yours, right? Just like Rihanna. Rihanna made a makeup line that was targeting minorities. She did very, very well, right? And fashion duh. I don't know how this hasn't happened already. But the fact that it took till like 2000 something for a woman to say, hey, we are shaped different, let's create jeans for our shape. And luckily you're the one to do it. But I think there's going to be an opportunity for people that feel like, okay, there is demographics that we're not paying attention to. Let's start investing in people that understand them and already targeting them and doing well. So that's where, like with me, as soon as I heard your story, I was like, whoa, you're going to be able to raise money for sure. I just don't know how fashion works. But once you had the patent and you were getting home shopping network, I figured you were going to have a path towards that. Have you been having conversations with investors yet, or because of COVID has been tough?
Well, because of COVID, I had started, preparing the deck and the business plan and projections for 5 years to start reaching out to investors. But then because of COVID, everything kind of stopped. But of course, we are going back at it very soon.
Good, good. Yeah, because I really think right now is it's a pretty good moment
Hmm.
for what you're doing. I think, especially because so much is online right now. Like I'm dealing with a brand right now, and they said their online sales, which were really good already, went up like 800% during COVID.
Well, mine too for the gym. Online
Yeah,
sales went up, surprisingly. I mean, not surprisingly, people are home, but you wouldn't think people want to wear jeans at home, but they
sure.
did. And one of the things that I did during COVID was invest more on SEO to increase traffic to the
That's good.
site.
Another good thing to do is Facebook. Facebook will allow
Mhm.
you for what I would do is I would spend there's a pro tip. I would spend $25 a day targeting Hispanic women or whatever minority women at the ages that you believe. And what happens with the oops, I think she maybe got a call. Um, what happens is anybody watching with the $25 a day, it won't spend all 25. It will spend whatever it believes it it needs, right? So based on the traffic. So with $25 a day, you can start to get to like a penny per view. And that could be really, and a penny per view to your target audience is freaking valuable. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No problem, no problem. What I was saying is, if I were you, I would start spending on Facebook targeted ads. And I know $25 a day could be expensive, but it doesn't spend all 25. It the way I would do it is super like behind the scenes. I would spend $25 a day on the demographic, knowing it doesn't take the 25 out, but do it for page likes,
Hmm.
because that's the cheapest thing that Facebook will give you. But the more people that like the page, the more they will see your content. And if that happens, your brand will grow with them. Instead of trying to get traffic to the website to buy, that's the most expensive because
Right.
Facebook knows they're pulling you off Facebook. But if you're trying to help Facebook keep people on Facebook, they're going to give you that for as cheap as possible. So if you did that, you could start growing the amount of people that know about your brand on Facebook. And then the extra part is Facebook now connects to your store, and you can literally put your products on your Facebook page. So
Yeah,
people
it
can
is.
buy
Mine
it.
is already. Yeah.
So that's why it makes if you already
Hmm.
have it, it makes so much more sense to do that, because those things will turn into sales. That $25,
Hmm.
one sale, you may get that back. So like for
So
me, that would be a huge thing I would do right now, because everybody's still kind of home. I guess we just opened in New York, but I'm still staying home. I'm sure most people know that second wave is going to come, so people are going to be a little still at home.
right.
But so I guess I never really deal with fashion people that are starting fashion labels. My question to you is, if I was trying to start right now, right, I'm interested in starting a fashion label. What advice would you give anyone that's thinking about that right now? Because you dealt with it last time in a recession just like them. What would you tell them?
Well, first and foremost, I think it is important to have the knowledge, the technical knowledge to what it takes to manufacture a garment. You need to know, 'cause everybody thinks that just by being an influencer you could just put your brand out there. I mean, you could do it if you're just going to put your name on the
Like
brand. you're gonna
license.
have you're gonna have a company behind you that's gonna do all the legwork, all the development of the product. But if you're gonna do it yourself, you better know what you're doing, because factories speak technical language, and if you're not familiar with what you're doing, your product is gonna look like crap, and
Yeah.
it's not gonna fit anyone. So get the training, get the proper training, learn how to, the technical aspects of creating a apparel. That's one thing. And also business wise, make sure that you create your business plan, you do your projections, and get someone to maybe that can mentor you, that can prevent you from making mistakes. That I did so many mistakes. I wish I had
We all do.
went
We all
out to
do.
someone who could have prevented me from doing those mistakes. So I think that would be a good idea.
So start practicing understanding how to make garments and understand especially with so you're doing is your what you're doing consider high fashion? What would you say your what part of fashion are
I'm like middle,
middle?
It's not cheap, but it's not super expensive either.
Okay. Okay. So it is, but it's custom. It's not like you're creating just a logo on a t-shirt. You are creating a
It's
custom.
a Yeah, it's original design from scratch that
Yeah.
I created. I developed it myself. I do from a prototype. I fit it on a real fit model until it is perfected before it goes into production. I'm involved, from the beginning until production, until it is delivered to the customer.
Hmm.
So unlike a famous person that just puts their name on the brand, and a licensing company does everything. My product is actually me doing it. It comes from the real person, the real designer.
That's good. That's good. And do you have one other thing I would say is what you just said just tells me that's an opportunity for marketing right there. If you
Mhm.
show the process of you doing what you just said, that to me is like great advertising and marketing, where you show, okay, this is why you want to buy my jeans because I'm making them for you. And this is the painstaking way I I work on this to make sure it's good for you because no other brand is going to do that like I am because I am making this for us.
I'm the real deal. Well,
Yeah.
actually, I did a video that talks about it and shows the whole process. I had to, Caesar did the video for me,
Oh,
actually.
nice, nice, nice. And
Yeah.
is it
So
up? Is it up?
I'm just putting it up today, as a matter of fact, on my
Okay.
website, and I loaded it into YouTube yesterday. So I'll send you the links if
Send
you
me the
see.
link. I'll put it in the description. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, that's the type of stuff that is branding. It is like
Mhm.
if you look at all these brands, they're just doing that over and over again. They're telling their story, telling their story, telling their story. So for an early starter, it's tough to think about. All right, how am I going to spend this money? But that type of content is never gets old. Like
Mhm.
it's evergreen, right? Like you have now your story, why this brand exists, and how it works. So all right, if you're a woman and you got to check out her, I'm gonna put the website up here so you can go check out. Should I promote the HSN link or I put all three in?
Okay. Yeah.
Put all three. I put all three. All right. Um, HSN link is long, so it's in the description. The your website is Sienna Cenia Convi.
Convigene
Yeah, yeah. All right, I'm
com.
gonna put that one up. Convigene, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, check out her website. Check out the jeans. Support people like you, minorities creating companies. Try the jeans. Give her good reviews because all that helps, right? That all helps. So okay, what else? So you said you're looking. Is there any questions that you can maybe ask me or people from my audience that you may want advice on? I do advise startups, so maybe there's something I can help you with.
Um, well, right now I'm navigating, all of the social media marketing, trying to grow my following as much as I can. You already gave me some tips on that, but any other ideas are welcome as to how to grow my audience and following.
So what I would, all right. So if I had to start from scratch, right, knowing your brand very little, but I know it more than not never seen it before. First thing I would do is highlight you, right? Because at the end of the day, the brand is it's literally you, right? So you have to kind of, and you're already kind of doing it, right? Like by all this stuff that you're getting, like that Macy story, right? I would tell that story on camera, right? And what it starts to do is build your credibility, right? And then people will start looking at you and saying, "Oh, this is the woman that's going to solve this problem." Macy's thinks it. Home Shopping Network thinks it, right? So let me try to get behind her and help make sure it's one of us that solves it instead of some corporate entity that doesn't really care, that just wants to make money, right? So that's one thing I would start to figure out how to do that, and Caesar definitely could be the guy to help you do that. Um, that's one start. I would, and this is hard, and I know many people think I'm crazy, but I would start a show similar to this. Maybe don't do it as often as me, but I would start interviewing curvy women that have good followings and have them talk about their fashion, you
Struggles.
know, yeah, and like their experience. And then that type of content, I believe women will be drawn to it, and the whole time they'll be learning more about you. You could become like the Oprah of of
And fashion designers.
yeah, exactly. I honestly believe, like, already with this, what I do with this, people are already reaching out to me like, nobody's doing what you're doing, especially for minorities, right? So right now I'm making content that I'm going to help present you to investors, but if anybody comes across this on YouTube, now they can know about you, right? That wasn't happening. So in the opposite way, for you, I think you could do something similar. I know it's work. I'm not going to tell you it's not work, but it's worth it. It really is. That's one thing I would do, because then it gives you constant content, right? Because coming up with content every day, shooting videos, that's hard. But having a conversation, we do that all day long as entrepreneurs, right? Like, I'm on the
True.
phone all the time talking to people. Most of the time, we would have just had this conversation and nobody would have known about it, right?
True.
But
That's true.
but now, like, this is gonna get 1 million views. um, and it'll help both me and you, right? So the idea behind this show thing, I think it'll catch on more. I think more people are going to start doing it. This is super easy. Look what we did. I gave you a link. You jumped on. We're going to talk for an hour. Many people are seeing it in many different platforms forever, right? That's pretty easy. It wasn't like we had to have a whole production team.
Wasn't rocket science.
Yeah, it wasn't like before, like maybe 5 years ago, I would have tried to bring two cameramen into your office or your home, whatever made sense, edit it, upload. All that took forever, never happened, right? Versus this, instant, done, it's live. People can ask me questions. It goes up
it's
immediately.
it's real and authentic.
And it's fast. It's like not that much work on yourself. So that's another thing I tell most people. Um, this makes sense for most things. Let's see what else. I would definitely create some type of, maybe what I would do if I were you is, instead of licensing the bags and the other things, I would create partnerships with these high level influencers and have them license your brand. So you say, look, I'm willing to create a an online store for you, right? You create their own store, but it's basically powered by your jeans. And at the bottom, it's like partnership with Cenia Kobe Jean, right? And what that'll do is, one, it'll get you more sales, right? Because they're I just think when I think about the influencer network that I've seen, they want to promote their own stuff. They don't really
Right,
want to promote someone else's.
right,
If it
right.
was theirs, they would go above and beyond promoting it. But if you have the partnership with them and it is theirs, but it's also yours, you benefit, right? So it's like kind of like a strategic partnership with
Mhm.
people who are like all those girls on Instagram that have 10 million followers because all they do is show off their curvy shape. If you tell them, how about you want your own gene line or whatever it is, like I think a lot of them would do it. And then it would benefit you on both sides, right? You would get the orders and you would get the awareness. That's something I would do. Um, what else? Any questions about any of this, by the way, just stop me. But yeah, I think I would
No,
do
those are
that.
all
I
great
would look
ideas.
for.
Yeah, look into.
Thank
Definitely
you,
will
thank you.
look into that.
I would look. Yeah, strategic alliances with influencers, maybe strategic alliance with a big brand. So I just heard a story about a technology company called Shazam. So Shazam is a thing where you turn it on and it listens to the song and it tells you what song it is. So when they first started, they were having a rough time, right? 6 years and they still weren't that known. Then AT&T decided to license their technology, but they didn't want the people on the phones to know that it was this company, Shazam.
Mm,
But Shazam did it anyway, right?
right.
And
So it
Shazam,
was under the AT&T brand, pretty much.
exactly. And that's what exploded Shazam because then everybody started knowing that you could do that. And then they looked for it in non AT&T products and Shazam won because of that. Same
Mm.
thing with YouTube did it with MySpace. So MySpace, and I know I'm talking about old technology. Um, YouTube was one of the first things to put an embed into somebody else's website. So they started embedding videos into MySpace and it blew them up. And then MySpace realized it and they tried to stop the embed, but people were upset about it and they made MySpace put it back on. But
Oh,
MySpace, I mean, YouTube basically hacked MySpace to blow themselves up, right? So in a way, I'm trying to say maybe there's a brand that understands that they haven't paid enough attention to the minority woman and they would want to be your partner, and even though you own the patent, so you know what I'm saying? They can't really steal it from you. And if they did, it would be a nightmare story, especially right now, right? So they will want to treat you right and publicly treat you right because it
exactly.
benefits them as a brand, right? It's
Right.
I think Rihanna's brand is part of some other bigger brand, right? I don't think she made it from scratch. I think she partnered with like Revlon or
I'm
somebody,
sure. Yeah, I
right?
think so. Yeah,
So it's the same idea. Like I would maybe start looking like that and say, all right, who's huge that I know is not thinking about this and partner with them and see if how they can help you grow really fast, really. And then it's really up to them to help you grow with those sales, those fulfillment of the sales too, because it benefits them. So that's the kind of stuff I think about right now in understanding where you are. You, as a fashion brand, the bigger your sales get, the more amount of money you're gonna have, right? Because every order, let's say somebody says, "I love them. I want a million pair of your jeans."
you have to produce them,
Yeah,
and
you have to
and,
make a
and you
million
have to
jeans
finance
up
that
front. You
production.
got to pay for the million jeans, give them to them, and then they may not sell them. So I've seen situations like that, right? Where I was working with a fashion brand early. They made a certain amount for like a Macy's. They gave it to Macy's. Macy's didn't sell it all, so they got to buy it back at a cheaper price than they sold it for. I was like, this
That's a
makes no
nightmare
sense.
scenario.
Yeah, and I'm like, so why would you not just go directly to your customer because your margin is better anyway. So this was the
So it's
conversation I was
always,
having
yeah.
with the CEO. I was like, look, F Macy's then if they're gonna do that. Like why would you one, they keep all the customer data. You don't even know who bought your stuff.
No.
So, I had the truthful conversation. He didn't end up doing it, and I don't know what ended up happening. I definitely Hope he's still good, but I know from the fact that these companies now they're going out of business, right? So is Macy's went out of business, right? No.
No, Macy's didn't go out of business. They are negotiating with some, big investment into their
Ah, okay, okay, okay.
but yeah. So I know they're getting restructured, so they're not going out of business. But Neiman's went out of business. So it's a lot of brick and mortar retailers that are going out, and because of all that you said, that more and more people are buying online, and especially now, it's going to be exponentially more people buying online.
100%.
So for all the reasons that you mentioned, that you get the customer data, is of course, and the margin is gigantic. So of
So
course
this
we
what
all
so this is
want
what
to
I did.
grow.
This is what I did with this guy though. This is what I did with this guy that it worked tremendously and it still works. I know it still works. I said when you have someone land on your website, give them the biggest discount you can give them to get them to buy one the first time. Why? Because then you get their data and then you could sell to them forever. So it's worth it. It's worth it if they land. And okay, so let's say normal products. I don't know if it's yours, but normal products, if it sells for $100, that means retailers buy it for about 50. Then you have to have your cost at about 25. So you make 25 and then the retailer makes the 50, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you so that means it costs you 25. But if you sell that same thing on your own website for 100, you make $75 instead of
That's correct.
25, right?
Correct.
So if you're making $75, you can afford to give somebody 50% off your first sale just to get their data and get them to try out your product, right? So
That's
I
true.
think it's worth it.
And it is worthy. One thing that you have to keep in mind, though, is that for instance, I sell online and I sell to boutiques as well. So I can't discount it so much because then my boutiques are not going to be okay with that.
so,
I
so
will
that
lose them.
so
I
that
will
was
lose.
the
I have my online price has to match or be even a little above the boutique because they
see,
don't. I
so
don't. They
that
don't
was
want to compete. Yeah.
so that was the problem I saw too, and I'm like,
So
well,
that's a situation to be mindful of right there.
but what I went against him on, which I know I'm glad you said it because it's true. Once you get into that big world, they don't want to have to compete with you.
Exactly.
What I was telling him, and I know I lost the fight pretty much, but I was really trying to fight for him though. What I'm saying is one time, like Macy's will run sales. Oh,
Oh
right
yeah.
now, 50% off 4th of July sale. You could do the same thing and just say, we give you 50% off one time your first sale. And that's really just a way. And I actually think it benefits you and those brick and mortars because if I tried it for the first time without as much of a risk, then when I walk into Macy's and I see them, I'm like, oh, I really like these. I'm
You
gonna buy.
already know the brand. You
It.
know
It's kind of like a
yeah.
free sample in a way, but not free, just a really
Yeah.
reduced price sample.
Yeah,
you
but we
know,
do give incentives. For instance, uh, we do internal promotions with our customers. We send them, emails promoting, giving them special deals, and also anyone who signs up, who gives their email when they go into my website, they get instantly 15% off on any purchase.
there you go, there you go. So 50% off is a nice way of doing it. I've done that with many brands. My if it were me, I would go as high as possible to try to get as much because to
But
me,
then you
daily,
have to take. You don't want to lose. You need a combination of both. You don't
I
want to
know,
lose your retail partners.
I know, I
Because
know.
you don't remember, customers. I have customers that buy 5 jeans, but that's like a lot of jeans, but for one person. But
One
the
per, but
stores will buy
100,000, yeah,
well,
yeah,
not
yeah.
100,000. Maybe the boutiques don't buy 100,000, but they could buy 24 in one shot. So
Hmm.
you have to keep that balance, and then also the boutiques will help you with the distribution. More territories, have your product, more people get to try it on and see it.
Sure,
So
sure.
you
That's
want
true. That's
to
true.
keep
There's
that
a
balance.
balance there. That I necessarily, I guess I go the most online because I see where it's going. But I get it. I get it. Right now,
Yeah, it's
you
super
need to have
important.
you have to have.
Online is super important. I think online, what is happening is like the democratization of the market.
Yep.
Before you had to convince that buyer to give you that order, and if not, how are you going to put your product out there? To
Yep.
nowadays, you have access to the end consumer, and they're the
Yeah.
ones who are going to give you that vote. If
Yep.
they like it, if they need it, they will buy it.
Yep. Yep. So like at the end of the day, I think however to find that happy medium, I don't know. I don't know if there is one yet because again, the brick and mortars, they have more power right now in this situation, like you said, because they have the volume, they have the power. But eventually, if branding becomes more of a thing that you can get a hold of, you end up having more power, and then those negotiations could be different. Like, well, it's
Of
just like
course.
Apple, right? Apple does it. Apple's price is the same everywhere, right? On their store, in Amazon, nobody can get a discount. Apple doesn't even give a discount ever, right? But they have the data. Even when you buy stuff in Best Buy on Apple, they know you own their product because you have to log in and then they have your data. So
They're geniuses. I mean, they're
yeah,
the model to follow.
yes, exactly.
They created a product that is a culture you want to be part of.
Oh, here's another idea that I just started listening to this book called Subscribed, and they're talking about the subscription model. And so I've thought of I'm definitely taking the idea to any business I think of now. So what if you had a subscription for jeans? Like what if it was like you pay X a month and we send you a pair of jeans a month? Is that possible? You think that's possible in your industry?
But I don't know if a person wants to purchase a month, maybe 6 months. I don't know. But that's an idea. That's a great idea.
Yeah, I would think about that because basically what it's talking about is the subscription model basically makes you understand how much money you have coming in at all times. Because
Mhm.
if you are waiting for people to buy once whenever they can, versus knowing you're gonna get money in these days, you can make different decisions about what to do. So a lot of these brands are starting to come to. I mean, mostly technology, sure, but look at Netflix, um, Adobe. So Adobe went from costing $3,000 to buy the software to costing $70 a month or 60. I forget what I pay.
Right. You end
And
up buying because I use all of the Adobe products. I think you end up paying more with the monthly.
yeah, you think yeah, I guess you're right, but it doesn't
Yeah.
feel that way,
It
right?
doesn't feel
Because
that way. You pay little by little. Yeah. But
so
Amazon has products like, for instance, beauty products. I buy on Amazon, and then if you sign up for the auto replenishment, you get a discount, and they automatically send it to you. So yeah, that's a great idea.
Amazon is doing it in many ways. Prime is another example, right?
Mhm.
They're getting $100 a year from millions and millions of people just for free shipping. You don't end up even using as much as you paid the 100, but
I know.
they give you all this other stuff too, right? They give you the TV. So I just think that model is going to start becoming much more popular. And
Mhm.
I always try to figure out with industries that don't make a lot of sense doing it. Maybe there's a spark. Someone like you could figure it out. All right, so we're up on the last 2 minutes. Any last words for anyone that may be interested in making their idea happen in a down economy like you did in your last one? Any advice for them? That's anybody watching?
Well, you have to believe in you with all your heart and every cell of your body. And you have to never, under any circumstance, no matter what happens, quit. You cannot quit. You have to keep going, keep on, plugging in, knocking on doors, and eventually things start to happen. You start meeting people,
Yeah.
a person, opens the door for you, opportunities come, and start taking steps. Prepare yourself. Take it from an idea into action. I'm an action person. I'm a person that if I have an idea, I have to do something about it. I can't just
Wait, yeah,
wait. I have to bring it into reality. So
that's
that's
awesome. So I think you're doing a great job. Keep going. I'll keep following the story. Definitely. Reach out. I think I can try to connect you with a few influencers that may be interested.
okay.
I haven't spoken to some of them in a while, but maybe there's something that you guys can work out. And then in the investment side too, I'll forward this to some of the investors that I know that may be interested. Um, Yeah, and good luck. Keep going. Keep going. I'm watching from afar. Like I'm rooting for you. Keep doing it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, my dear.
All right. All right. Have a good day. Keep rocking. And
Likewise.
everybody watching, thank you. Like this, share it if you're interested in anything she was talking about. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.